All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another day, another dollar, another video with your boy. We're gonna be breaking down the futures contract, basically going to be going over everything that happened today, and then just kind of give you a bigger picture on what happened, or look at the bigger picture to see what happened today. Very choppy session. As you can see, the session is still going on as we still have about 10 minutes to close. I just wanted to get an early start on this video prior to the market close and to see how we react near some of these levels that I had marked prior, in yesterday's video. You can see that we had filled the gap today. We opened up, first off and foremost, we had opened up near the previous day's high, which was not anticipated or expected at all, right? We opened up near the previous day's high and could not get above it, right? So we defended the one time framing down early on in the morning. Then in B period, we pushed down below the open, right? The red line here is the open at 45.19. We pushed down below the opening. And then C period, we finally took out the initial balance low and then began to one time frame down, which just means we're taking out a previous time frame's low, right? Same as one time framing up, it just means we're taking out a previous time frame's high. And each one of these candle bars or monkey bars are 30-minute time frames, right? So we had just taken out that low right there at 45.09. And then inside of yesterday's range, there really wasn't anything to lean against. The only thing I had really marked was that 44.95 area. That was kind of not an area to lean against, but somewhere I was looking to observe and see if we got down to more or less as a target. So once we took that out in C period, we pushed lower, and then we kind of just dropped this bad boy all the way down to the low. I mean, going trend with 1, 2, 3 sets of single prints early on in the day, taking out the day's low from the previous day right here at 44.82, filling the gap at 44.7850. Today's low was 44.7825. And we are reapproaching the lows right now in M period. But after tagging the lows here and filling the gap, it looked like that's all sellers really wanted to do initially. So then we kind of put ourselves into a bit of a grind mode, kind of similar to price action yesterday, right? We got into the gap, chopped around a little bit, and then grinded higher. Well, today we did almost the exact same thing, chopped around a bit, got above that 44.95 area, and then began to grind higher. Quite literally missing the open by just about a point and a half. And then this is where I began to get involved on the short side today as I was looking for an afternoon rally high. You know how I like to trade my afternoon rally highs, my afternoon pullback lows. So I was looking for an afternoon rally high or an area to get short at. And at the time, we had taken back 1, 2 sets of single prints, and we were working on the third set of single prints, which would be right here where I'm highlighting. We had a third set of single prints that we were working on and filling into. So that's where I began to get short at as we pushed up into that area. In I and in J period, I began to get short around 07, 08, and then had the idea of adding up into or at least near the open. I was looking to add up into that area. So once again, I'm trading the MES so I can scale into things. So as we're pushing up, I'm short 07, I'm short 08. We continue to grind up. I add on a few more around 12, around 13. We continue to grind up. Add on a few more around the 15 level. So I believe across the board, I'm short, I think 25 on each account of the MES. So, roughly I'm short about a 10 lot or a 10 lot of ES, if you will. So I was short roughly 100 MES on this push up. Was getting hurt a little bit. My stop was above the open because I felt like if sellers were not strong, they would definitely give up the open. Another thing I was looking at was at the time, we're pushing up into this area, right, which was basically this consolidation period here in A and in B period. We began to push up into that area on the 1 minute time frame. And I was looking to get or looking to short within this area, right? I didn't want to see us push through it and then continue to grind up through it, right? Another thing I was looking at was we had this first standard deviation above us, and usually when we get near it, you can typically find an area to sell against, right? So with market generated information that was lining up at the time, I was comfortable holding on to my short position and adding as we grinded up higher because I was looking for an afternoon rally high. However, we did push up so high today, like that high right there is 45.18. Today's high is 21. So I'm not going to call it an afternoon rally high. Looks like we're getting ready to probe here with 5 minutes left in the session. And I'll show you what a probe looks like here in a second if we actually do it. But as we were pushing up, right, we had this 144 simple moving average trailing up, right? That's something I look to pull back into a lot of the time. So as I was shorting up here early on, I wanted to come down at the time. The 144 simple moving average was right around the 97 level. So I was looking to short it and let it pull back into the 97 level, maybe make out about 10 points on the trade. As we grinded up higher, the 144 obviously continued to move up. So I had to adjust my expectation and kind of look for a different area to get out at. And that would have been right here where the 144 and the VWAP were beginning to accumulate or beginning to cross, which, would have been a really good target for me to get out at. So as we began to pull back into it, that's exactly what happened. I began to exit my position as we began to pull back into the VWAP, as we began to pull back into that 144 simple moving average on the 1 minute. And then at the same time, what it's looking like on the 30-minute time frame is we're taking out, we had stopped the one-time framing up and began to push lower here. So as we began to pull back in L period or in M, I began to get out of my position at 07, 05, and then I got all out at around 04. And, I was very comfortable with taking profits right around that VWAP area because I didn't know if we were going to pull back to it, hold it, and then bounce. So I was just like, all right, let me get out of the position, take profits where it's at. So that put me up roughly about 208 points on the trading session, or roughly 20 points on the in the ES, if you count it that way, but about 208 points on the MES, which was a great opportunity. However, kind of regret not holding on and shooting for the lows here because I'm happy with taking my profits. Taking profits is good, but sometimes you just got to know when and how to let them run. And had there been better market generated information, I may have let this trade run because obviously right now we're trading down around 44.86. So, I had the right idea selling in, the 08 to 18 range, right? I was doing really well shorting or selling in this area to rotate back down into the VWAP, right? So that was good trade plan initially. However, I should have maybe held out a little bit longer, seen how we reacted, and come into M period to see if maybe we'd revisit the lows. And all of these buyers that got excited up here thinking we were going to take out the day's high, as they began to get hurt, that's what caused this liquidation, right? Anybody that was buying up here, they begin selling out, and then you have sellers stepping into the market to push this thing down. And that's just kind of what creates this market and how the ebb and flow of it really goes. So down here, you have people shorting in the hole. They began to get stopped out, grinds up, momentum buyers step into the market. This thing pushes up. Then you have laggard buyers stepping into the market up here where I'm selling at. And then you have sellers that are smart. They start to set in. Obviously, anybody that bought down here, they're selling here, getting out of their position. So supply begins to add up here. And then anybody that was a laggard buying up here, they begin to get stopped out, adding to that supply, and then we roll over. And just as expected, we kind of closed near the lows. Close today was 44.8625. So we had just closed the market there. Back near the low. So anybody that was buying up here above the 45.15 level expecting us to get above the open and above the day's high. Got absolutely demolished. But sellers did accomplish some good today. They can be proud that they continued to one time frame down on the daily by taking out the previous day's time or the previous day's low. So we took out that 44.82 level. Didn't get much extension below it. We did fill the gap. So another thing in the that sellers did accomplish prior to the CPI. So we pushed down into that gap fill. Great opportunity there for sellers to take profit, and I believe that's what caused the majority of this push up initially, besides the momentum buying. So sellers got the gap fill. They took out the previous day's low, continued a one-time frame down. They held their own near the highs of the previous day, defending the one-time framing down. Not only once, not only twice, but 4 times near the high. They held their own, and this market rolled back over. Now, we do have CPI coming out tomorrow. Data tends to drive this market a lot of the times, but we'll see how it plays a part in tomorrow's price action, in tomorrow's trading session. So have your hard hats on and just be prepared. Let's go ahead and mark today's destinations. There really isn't a whole lot to lean on, as there's a very choppy session. No wide point of controls or anything of that nature to really have in the checklist or the bag here, really. So there's our high of day right there at 45.21.59 or 4,521 and 50 cents. I was actually thinking about adding on more up here, but I was just already, I wanted to get up to maybe a 50 lot per account of the MES, but I just wasn't too confident because of the market generated information. However, I'm still very proud of how I handled and managed the trade here. My average price on that short up was right around the 45.12 to 45.1150 area. So I was out a couple points on that trade, and had it gotten above the open, I would have stopped out. But I'm proud of how I handled that trade, managed it, let the market kind of sort itself out, roll over, take the profits, and, just let Mo do what Mo does and just rip everybody that got long apart. So we have today's high, today's low, 78.25, where the gap did just fill today. So now it is a low of day. Low of day. So something I definitely want to take note of, right, is after coming out of balance to the downside, we haven't gotten much extension below that balance. That balance low was 93.75. Well, we got okay extension, 10 points worth yesterday. And then today we took out the previous day's low, but didn't get much extension once again. And not only that, we did not get below where the gap filled. We only took it out by by a tick. And the next downside destination from that point would be 44.65.25, the price probe back from July 11th. Below that is 44.56, 10 wide point of control. Below that is afternoon pullback low at 44.50.50. Now, if this market decides to hold here and start to get some moves to the upside, you have today's high of day at 45.21.50, 45.22.25, previous day's high, 45.27.25, that 11 wide point of control. Then you have 45.39.75. Next destination above that is 45.60.75. If we do take out today's high tomorrow, we will be coming back into a balance. However, if we take out today's low, the market just continues to set lower lows and lower highs and continues to one-time frame down. So wear your hard hats tomorrow. Now let's go ahead and look at the daily. That's all we're going to look at today is the daily. We already know what the weekly looks like. We'll review it closer to the end of the week. So you can see here our balance area, right? We took it out. We've been one-time framing down 2 days in a row now. However, we have not gotten much for it. Now, we do have the 50-day moving average creeping up. It is at 44.62. So tomorrow, maybe it'll be around the 44.65 to 68 area, which would put it basically at today's low almost. So I do expect us to potentially come back into a balance and shop in between the 20-day moving average and the 50-day moving average. However, if we get below the 50-day moving average, with any real aggression, this market can get a pretty good downside move and hit those downside destinations that I was talking about, and potentially backtest the 44.50 level, even the 4400 level on the downside. However, if we hold it, this is a great opportunity for those long-term buyers to kind of step into the market, dollar cost average right here around the 50-day moving average, and roll this bad boy back up to the highs. So let's keep it all in context here, ladies and gentlemen. Have your hard hats on tomorrow. Let's see what volatility brings us. Trade it one day at a time, and hopefully we can make a little bit of money. Thank you all for stopping by. We'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.